Welcome to the culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, music, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. It's a lifestyle. We are the culture. Hi, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jessica Garrett Motkins, and joining us today is none other than Treat 'em Right himself, Chubb Rock. What's good?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on with everybody?
Man. So excited to have you on the show today, Chubb. What's been going on during the pandemic? How's everyone doing in your family?
Everybody's staying safe. Um, everybody's good.
That's
You
good.
know, we had some unfortunate things happen with some friends and like everybody else at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Friends, a bunch of legends in the game
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So we're grateful for every day. Definitely don't take none of it for granted at this point, and just
Mhm.
trying to wait until this thing kind of we can get over this hurdle.
Yeah. 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 I think, didn't I see you do some kind of concert or something last year online?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did a bunch of those.
yeah.
We did a bunch of those, and then when people said, "Hey, we're gonna have to be safe," and I did Kwame's
That's
virtual concert.
that's
It started with Kwame. I think he was the first one to really do it. And then some other people did it, and then I did DJ Cassidy's, um, and then we did another one in New York for some nice people out there. Just trying to entertain people and keep them, feeling somewhat normal, doing something they've never experienced before. So it was nice. It was cool. And then more this year, they wanted to try coming back outside for a little bit. So, certain things were there, certain things got rescheduled. It's just the way of the world now. So it is what it is.
yeah, everyone's being very flexible. Let's go
Yeah.
back to the late 80s when you came into notoriety in my life. I was in college, and man, when Treat 'em Right came out, I think it was like in the 90s, 1990 or something like
Yep. Hmm.
that. I went ham. That was around the time when Living Single was out. I think we dubbed ourselves the Fly Girls. We made up all these routines to your song, and to think it is still a classic today. Take us back to, how did you even come up with the rhyme?
We had a first album in '86, and I mean, nothing happened. We never had a video. The record really didn't do that well. In fact, in retrospect, when I think about it, it actually did pretty good for a new artist. But at the time, we didn't really get any notoriety with the record. So then we did the second record, which was "And the Winner Is," and that one got us out there. Um, your bad chubs, and we had our first video, and we were getting so much love that "Treat 'Em Right" was really just a song thanking the fans for all the love. That's mainly what it was. It was just thanking the fans. Sign an autograph, you might make a new friend, and RoboCop last year was a shock because RoboCop was a line in the last song. So all of that was that, and then of course there was an unfortunate situation that happened in our part of town in New York, which was the killing of Yusef Hawkins. This is like the first kind of Trayvon Martin type of thing, and his name was Yusef Hawkins. So I wanted to make sure bring some awareness to that situation and mentioned him in the record. So it was just during that time where again thanking the fans because I just couldn't believe all the love that we got, and then throwing a little awareness of this young man that got killed, named Yusef Hawkins.
You've always been very mindful, National Merit Scholar, and then you parlay that into the music industry. how did that work? Like, what was that conversation like with your elder saying, I think I'm gonna take the music route. Was that your major in college? Was that something you were studying?
No, I wasn't doing nothing like that. And with music, I just kind of found out a good friend of mine, my my brothers actually. I mean, we're past friends at this point. Dave Witt, um, and we call him Rob Swinger, but my brother Rob and Doug, we all kind of found out about hip hop at the same time, and it just kind of got into my soul. And my mom was very very supportive. My father was very supportive, and my mom built me my studio, my first studio in the house in the basement, and it was just nice, man. I think my mother, in retrospect, used to tell me, this is later on in life, she loved that I was doing music because there was some situations going on with young black men getting killed. I mean, this is not a new thing now, right? This was going on, and she always knew where I was because the minute the studio was there, I was a slave to it. She knew that I was either downstairs in the basement with my brothers Rob and Doug, Dave, or I was at my cousin Howie's house because he was the producer that brought me into the game. So I didn't know this until later on that she was like, I loved every minute. I always thought later on when I moved out that I was being, you know, um, considerate because I'm like, hey man, we're blasting my mother. My mother's upstairs sleeping 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. She's hearing beats going off and stuff. And it wasn't until later on when, unfortunately she got sick and we would have some very deep conversations. She was like, and she was a Caribbean mother. So Caribbean mothers don't never want you to leave the house. So she was like, oh, that was the worst day of my life when because she said she loved it because she knew where her son was. They used to have this thing in New York on television, and they would say, hey, it's 10 p.m. on the television. Do you know where your children are? They used to have this thing that would come on the news. And she always said, hey, I know exactly where, I can hear him. I know where he is. He's downstairs. And I think she loved that because she knew where I was. And she didn't want to get any bad news. Oh, he's walking home and police stopped him and something happened and he's already a big guy. And, you know, so that's how it all my parents were very supportive, and they were like, hey, we don't want you to have any regrets, and see what you can do. And my cousin Howie was already in the business because he came and made his first record. He was older than me, obviously. He made his first record, and then he went on to help and produce some things for Full Force and Roxanne for UTFO. He was heavily involved with the production of that record. He did a Crash Crew record. He did he just did so many different things. He was just born brilliant. And he would say, man, you got the voice, you got the voice. We got to do some stuff and we got to do some stuff. And him and Dr. Ice from UTFO was like, nah, we got to get some stuff going. And so the road to getting a record deal wasn't really long. It was pretty quick actually. And I was still young and stuff. My mother signed the contract because I couldn't sign the contract. And it started from there.
Nice journey. Nice. Real nice. What happened to the studio in the basement?
Oh, to this day, it's still there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my mother was not a person that got rid of stuff. Um, she always kept my stuff. Always. There ain't nothing better than a mom, man.
No,
There ain't nothing better than.
nothing better than mommy. Nothing better than mommy. You're broadcasting now. You've taken that party start up spirit to the waves. I remember I was listening to you on an internet station, listening to you in Miami, on the internet from a radio station in Atlanta. But where
Right.
can people hear you now?
We're in. We have a syndicated show, uh,
Syndication.
um, Monday through Friday, and you could either go to chubbrockshow.com. There's a link there. You could hear the stuff. You could download the app Bangin' FM. Or if you're in those different cities, obviously you can download their app because most radio stations have an app now. And we hope to be in Miami soon, but we're in other places, and things are going well. And then we got a weekend initiative because I really started off with a weekend show, a weekend tribute to classic hip hop called "Digging in the Crates." That's how it all started, as far as the syndication side of it. And it grew, and now we got this whole weekend warrior movement, where we have 24, 26 hours of programming that we can give to radio stations for the weekends.
Nice. Now you
So
said E. Who else is with you?
I got the best DJs on the planet, which people would probably know I should have after all these years. And we got great hosts, and it's just an incredible vibe. And we got it on in Atlanta, OG 97.9. Big shout to Louis D, um, Sean Shannon, Vicky Shelton. They looked out for us and had a lot of faith in what we were going to do, and now we're on and popping, and we're going to take it nationally, obviously, and going to have an answer because radio has changed since the pandemic. So we people got to change with the times.
Hmm. Tell me, what do you mean by radio has changed?
Well, once the pandemic came and it became serious, like, okay, this is serious here. Most radio companies did not want anybody in their studio. They either said, hey, you got to work from home, sales departments working from home, because they were trying to be responsible. And you know they probably didn't want to, but they had no choice. You got to start working from home. Jocks have to do it from home and send it in. And now we're still in that situation, and now with all these various variants, you got to be very careful. So we are one of the solutions for that for your weekend, because we don't need to be in your studio. You know, we do everything from here, and then it just becomes a plug and play situation into your radio automation system.
Hmm. And that takes us to ownership,
Right.
Black
Right.
ownership. What are your
That's
thoughts about that?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. It's like I got a chance to learn the business of ownership from these two guys here in the ATL. And they owned a station 105, 105.5. Black owned, which is they ain't too many out there. I think there's maybe 164, 68 black owned radio stations, while white people own like 18,000 radio stations. Um, the disparities are serious. Um, but it's those black radio stations that got Biden in and got Kamala in, because everybody united and said, no, we got to do this. I did all the interviews, John Ossoff and Warnock and all, I mean, everything. And, but we don't have enough in the media business as far as ownership. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous here, you know. So hopefully we'll change some of that. I mean, we can never change it to a big degree, but that's my future is ownership. It might not be iHeart and own 2,500, 3,000 stations, but if I could own my little 2, 3, I try to do my responsibility and hopefully encourage other people. Because it was those guys from 105.5 that encouraged me because I didn't even know, and they were young guys. I didn't even know you young African American guys owning a station. I was like, wow, this is incredible, And so I thank them for that kind of education and knowledge, and now it's time to put that into full effect.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Not too many people get the whole concept of ownership and what that brings. Um,
it's a hard process. It isn't nothing. My mother owned her own restaurant and her own bar, and so I seen all the sacrifices that she had to go through, all the hard work, all the long hours, and it's all on you. You could do well one day, and no one opens the door the next day. So it's not, people, especially during a time like now, the pandemic, would rather just get a um a definite paycheck every 2 weeks, right? Ownership is not has nothing to do with definites, right? It has to do with hard work and passion and focus, you know, and and sacrifice, So you got to be prepared for that. But there's a whole big movement in our space, of Black people really going into entrepreneurship. And I think it's incredible. I don't care if you're selling cookies or you're selling shirts, you're selling eyeglasses, you're selling lipstick, you're selling whatever you want to sell. I see it more and more now. And I think that's great. I think the pandemic spawned that because they were like, wait a second, I got furloughed. I got furloughed. I don't know what to do. And then you all of a sudden realize you have a talent. Well, I know how to make these keychains and I'm going to start selling them. And I know how to go on social media. I know how to advertise this way. I know to do this, do that. I'm creative. And then all of a sudden, when they're like, okay, people come back, it's time to go back to work. You see what's going on. People are going, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not so sure if I'm going back to work for you. I think I might thug it out with my own little business here. It might not be bringing me all the money in the world now, but I got more control of my destiny and everything. I turned around and I seen McDonald's here at one point here in Georgia was offering $18 an hour to work there. I'm like, oh, so now you want to pay people, because young people are like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I see all these queens now, these beautiful Black queens have become truck drivers and now getting their CDL and owning their truck. If you go on TikTok and stuff, they got a whole movement and they're owning their own truck business. They might have one truck or maybe they graduated to two, but they at one point worked for somebody,
right.
and said, nah, I'm not going to do that. So there's a revolution going on. And you can only disrespect people but so long. All of these fast food places, you see all the places closing.
Right.
It's like at some point you're gonna have to treat workers way better than you have because they are ready to go on social media and create a business because they can do it for $50 and then put in the same hard work you want them to do at your place, and get their own. So I love the movement that's going on now.
Talk to me about how these artists are cutting through the clutter on social media.
Well, they have learned the algorithm of it. Um, you know, the music business has changed, right? And it's changed forever. And I don't like the changes, but again, you have to adapt. And music artists now have adapted. And they can create stars without no hit record. It's incredible. And some of it is extremely creative. Now, they're not totally there yet when they have come to the conclusion of, well, I don't need a big label. I can do it myself. Some still want the big advance um, budgets for marketing and promotion. Um, because that stuff is still needed because people have a smaller attention span now. So, back when I was throwing out records, you can promote that record for a whole year. Treat 'Em Right didn't take off until like 8, 9 months later. They were ready to call it quits and go on to the next single. These days they give you a record like 1 week to make an impression. Like 1 week. If you don't come out the gate swinging and people are just gravitating to it, the record is gone. It's over. It's done. So the business of records is, oh man, it's crazy. But I knew we would get here. See, I got lots of problems with the music business because somehow we allowed a non-music person to dictate what our songs cost. Like, so you have your man, rest in peace to him. He was a brilliant guy, don't get me wrong. Your man, Steve Jobs, that says, hey man, we're going to come up with a platform called iTunes and your record's going to be 99 cents. He's like, wait a second. When we was throwing out singles, it was $4, right? That's what Jay-Z said in one of his records, right? Your single was 99 cents. Mine was $4 because that's how we sold our record. Our albums were $15. How in the world did this man come and say, no, we're going to sell your record for 99 cents. We're going to sell your whole album for $9.99, and people can just pick through what they want. They don't have to buy the whole album.
Right.
They can just buy. Record business changed ever since, for the worse, by the way. And somehow we allowed that to happen. We allowed that to happen. We allowed now that record companies want 360 deals. So if you become an Ice Cube and become a great actor and become a great movie director and stuff like that, they want a piece of all of that. If you become Nicki Minaj and have built this big, beautiful branding situation with clothing and everything else that she encompasses, oh, we need a piece of that. If you're Travis Scott and you have created this incredible touring experience, no, we need a piece of that. So, I mean, I don't even envy the young guys. I like the fact that they're trying to navigate through it. But it's worse than when I was in it.
Do you have any advice for them?
It's hard because it's very easy to say, man, just do it on your own. We know it's hard to do it on your own because then you're penetrating a system that those big labels have created. They got the response. They got the relationships with television outlets. They got the relationships with radio companies. They got the relationship with the digital platforms, right? So if they wanted to, they could just X you out of those things. So it's very difficult. But I think no matter what you're going to do, you should always remember the word renegotiate. The way you start don't have to be the way you finish or the way you continue, right? Because I don't like no aspect of it. No aspect of it. It doesn't function in the same way. You have right now, and I think she's an incredible artist. Incredible artist. You have Adele, who got a new record, new album, and Sony's going to push that record like they're pushing out a Michael Jackson Thriller album.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to push that record also to urban stations. And urban stations are going to have to play it. They'll do the same thing with a Justin Timberlake. Urban stations. But if Tyrese or Usher come out, they can't get on pop stations. And it's like, wait a second, why? They got brilliant music and beautiful music, and people love music no matter what race they are, what color they are. So why can't they get on pop stations? No. That's no. We play Justin Timberlake, we play Britney Spears, we played it. It's the same thing if you play Usher, my man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's a one-way street.
Yeah.
You know, so it becomes a pretty interesting situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're going to be in Miami at the end of the year. End of the month.
Yeah.
Coming back to host Nomi Music Fest. For those who've never come to see you on stage to host this massive outdoor festival, tell them what they can expect.
That festival has grown over the years. And now it's going to be serious. I mean, Montel Jordan, Next, Music Soul Child, some incredible new artists,
Mhm,
you know, up and coming artists are going to be on that show as well.
mhm.
It's always a good time, always a good time. And I'm just proud that I've been able to do it a couple of years. They haven't gotten tired of me yet.
No,
So
not
I'm
at all.
great. I'm grateful for it. And we're going to have a good time. That's going to be February 26th.
Yes, at Cagney Park, 6 p.m. Also, Regina King. Not Regina King.
Regina Bell.
Regina Bell. Regina
The
Bell.
beautiful Regina Bell.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I've never met that queen, so I'm going to be honored to meet her.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
So we're
great.
going to have a good time.
Yeah, and it's outside, and people are looking for a reason to be outside. Bring your lawn chairs, blankets.
Oh yeah, without question.
What's your DJ's name?
Rob Swinger.
Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to seeing him and you here in the MIA at the end of the month.
Oh yeah. We're going to
Yes,
have a good time.
yes, it's going to be nice. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, sir, and all that you do. And I'm just waiting. I'm excited about that Noma Music Fest because when that comes to town, when you come to town to host it on an annual basis, I mean, I don't know what I was doing last year because I'm like, no Noma Music Fest, but I didn't want to
Right.
be outside anyway. But
And I think that's why they're going so strong for this year.
right.
You know, just to give people something because they weren't able to do it last year because of the pandemic. So we
Yeah.
got to really bring it
Yeah.
and keep people uplifted and have a good time and, you know, sweat that cream of nature out and just really go in there, you know. You can rub your knees with the
Yes,
Bengay because you're gonna dance and stuff like that. So we're gonna
yes,
have a good time.
yes, yes. Thank you, Chuck, for joining us. And thank you all, Culture family, for watching. We'll catch you right here tonight live on Facebook Live and YouTube Live for another edition of My Two Cents. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
The culture.
The Culture is produced and owned by the Culture Media Group and cannot be reproduced or broadcast without written consent. All rights reserved 2022.